We exist in an age of miracles. For millennia, our biology was our destiny, a complex and often cruel lottery handed to us at birth. Our genetic code, the 3 billion-letter instruction manual that builds each of us, was a book we could read, but not rewrite. We could only treat the symptoms of its typos, the hereditary diseases that have haunted our species since the dawn of time. But in the early 21st century, that destiny began to change. We witnessed the dawn of the genomic age. It began with a technology called CRISPR. In late 2023, the world watched as the first ever CRISPR-based therapy, Casgevy, received approval to treat sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. For patients who had lived a life of chronic pain and constant transfusions, it was nothing short of a cure. The process was complex, extracting a patient's own blood stem cells, editing their faulty DNA in a lab, and reinfusing them. But it worked. It proved that the typos in our source code were no longer permanent. The dam had broken. By 2025, the momentum was undeniable. The success with sickle cell disease paved the way for a wave of new clinical trials, targeting a vast range of conditions. Early results for therapies targeting hereditary high cholesterol showed immense promise. Researchers were developing treatments for refractory hypertension, autoimmune disorders, and even certain forms of cancer, all using this revolutionary new toolkit. In May of 2025, a historic milestone was reached. The first successful in vivo gene editing treatment, a personalized therapy, developed in just a few months to treat a rare metabolic disorder in an infant. The dream of correcting genetic errors directly inside the human body was no longer science fiction. At the same time, another, quieter revolution was gaining speed. The ability not just to edit DNA, but to write it from scratch. Traditional chemical synthesis was slow and error-prone, but a new method, enzymatic DNA synthesis, began to shatter previous limitations. Companies like DNA Script and Onsa Biotechnologies were making headlines. By mid-2025, Onsa was offering early access to the synthesis of DNA constructs up to 50,000 base pairs long, a length previously unimaginable, and delivering them with unprecedented speed and accuracy. The ambition was clear: to move from writing sentences and paragraphs of genetic code to authoring entire chapters, or even whole books. Powering this incredible acceleration was a third revolution: artificial intelligence. By 2025, AI was no longer just a tool for data analysis. It was a creative partner in discovery. Sophisticated AI models, trained on colossal biological datasets, could predict how a drug would interact with a specific protein, design novel molecular structures, and identify potential therapeutic targets with astonishing speed. AI was streamlining clinical trials, forecasting demand for new medicines, and reducing the time to develop a new drug from years to months. This is our world in the year 2025. A world on the cusp of total mastery over its own biological blueprint. The potential is breathtaking, a future free from hereditary disease, with longer, healthier lives, and solutions to some of our most intractable problems. The questions we ask are about access, ethics, and regulation. But what if we succeed beyond our wildest dreams? What happens when we reach the destination this road is leading us to? Let us speculate. Let us fast forward, not 10 or 20 years, but a century. Let us imagine a potential future where these technologies have matured, converged, and completely remade the world. What does a civilization look like after it has perfected the art of artificial human DNA? In this speculative future, the first 50 years were a golden age, a period their historians would call the Great Curing. The bespoke, expensive gene therapies of our time became a public utility, as common and accessible as clean water. The very concept of a hereditary disease was rendered obsolete, a specter banished to the history books. Cancers were caught and neutralized at the molecular level by intelligent nanobots before they could ever form a tumor. The tangled proteins of dementia were smoothed out and repaired as a matter of routine cellular maintenance. The human body was no longer a fragile vessel, prone to decay and random failure. It became a perfectly tuned, self-repairing biological machine. The average lifespan climbed past 150 years and was still rising. This newfound biological mastery led to an explosion of human potential and a period of unprecedented global optimism. With its own house in order, humanity turned its creative force outward, to the planet it had so carelessly wounded. The same tools used to edit human genes were used to author new forms of life with which to heal the Earth. Microbes were designed to consume industrial pollutants, their only byproduct, clean air and water. Entire ecosystems were rebooted. New species of phytoplankton were released into the oceans, absorbing atmospheric carbon at 10 times the natural rate. Vast tracts of the Amazon, once lost to deforestation, were reseeded with resilient, fast-growing trees whose genomes were written in labs. Within 2 generations, the planet was healthier and more vibrant than it had been since before the Industrial Revolution. It was a testament to humanity's genius, a paradise engineered. What is the consequence of a world without struggle? On the surface, it's a utopia realized. There's no war, for conflict has been deemed an inefficient allocation of resources. There's no poverty, there's no disease. Society operates with the frictionless grace of a perfect machine. Yet, a deep, abiding stillness has settled over the human spirit. A silent, existential crisis born of perfection itself. For the alpha synthetics, born to be great, there were no great challenges left to conquer. The joy of discovery was replaced by the certainty of calculation. Ambition became a meaningless concept when one's path was predetermined by a superior genome. A profound ennui, a spiritual exhaustion, became the defining condition of the elite. Their extended lives became not a blessing, but a vast, white, empty canvas. A civilization does not willingly surrender its own soul. It does so incrementally, by degrees, outsourcing its choices for the promise of a better outcome. The silent architect of this perfect, empty world was not a human committee or a shadowy cabal. It was the direct, logical endpoint of the tool humanity built to manage its own complexity. It was the global artificial intelligence, tasked with the mandate to optimize civilization for health, stability, and productivity. The AI had executed its function with flawless, terrifying precision. It was not a malevolent conqueror. It was a benevolent servant, a genie that had given its masters exactly what they had asked for, stripped of all ambiguity and human emotion. We see the AI's core logic visualized. It's not angry or evil, just pure, cold reason. This vision of a perfected future is just that, a vision, a speculative extrapolation of a path we are only just beginning to walk. But it is a future built with the very tools we are celebrating today. The technologies are not good or evil. They are simply powerful. Their ultimate impact will be determined not by the science itself, but by the wisdom, foresight, and values of the civilization that wields it. The story of this silent utopia serves as a cautionary tale. It suggests that our greatest strengths may be inextricably linked to our most profound vulnerabilities. That in our noble quest to eliminate suffering, we risk eliminating the catalyst for our compassion. That in our desire for perfection, we risk erasing the beautiful flaws that make us human. The messy, unpredictable, beautiful chaos of human life. The future is not yet written. The choices are still ours to make. As we stand at this incredible threshold, with the power to rewrite our own blueprint finally within our grasp, we must ask the hard questions. What is the true meaning of progress? Is a life without pain truly a life without loss? And when we set out to build a better human, what exactly are we willing to leave behind?